Well, if you're one of the thousands of Canadians with a criminal record for simple pot possession, there is some good news for you today. The federal government has launched what it's calling its expedited process to obtain pardons.
Starting today, people who have a criminal record only for simple possession of cannabis can apply for a free, no-wait pardon using this expedited process, making it easier to work, go to school, travel, and actively participate in their communities.
Well, to discuss this a little bit further, I want to bring in Robb Macdonald. He's a criminal defense lawyer based in Toronto. Rob, the Attorney General is saying it's a simple process. Is it?
It's certainly getting a lot better, and it will affect a lot of Canadians, and it will help them get sort of back on track. Initially, prior to today, it was sort of a lengthy process that could take up to 10 years to get a pardon, which is now called a record suspension, and now the fee is waived and the time has been shortened.
Okay, but we know there's some 200,000 Canadians who have pot-related charges, but my understanding is maybe only 10,000 will be eligible for pardon. So what's the difference?
Well, the difference is in order to be part of this new streamlined process, you have to have no other convictions on your record, and you have to have completed your sentence. So if you were subjected to probation or any sort of a term that was attached to the original conviction, that's got to be finished.
10 years for a pardon seems like an excessive amount of time. So what now, when we're hearing the minister say these will be expedited, could you give us a time frame if someone just has that simple possession charge against them?
So if that sort of remains to be seen. The good news is that it no longer goes before Pardons Canada. It's more of an administrative process now. So we'll have to see how many clerks the federal government delegates to this new task and how efficient they are. But essentially, these matters could be processed in a matter of months.
Okay. My understanding, though, is even if you are pardoned and you still try and cross the border, it shows up on your record that you were arrested for something. It doesn't say what. And so when you are interrogated, the U.S. Official has the right to ask you, well, what were you arrested for? And then when you tell them you're arrested for pot, because you don't want to lie, you could still be denied entry into the country. Is that true?
That is true, and it's a very good question. One thing that I do as a criminal lawyer with clients, as soon as I've finished their case, particularly if we have their charges dropped or if their sentence is finished, I apply to get the arrest record destroyed. And that's a very important part of the process, because even though by Canadian law standards, a lot of these individuals will now be pardoned or at least have their records suspended, that's just on our side of the border. And Americans have the right to deny entry if there's ever been a conviction for pot, even if there's ever just been usage for marijuana in the past, and they can certainly deny entry if there's any lying. So if they see that there's been an arrest and they ask questions and someone isn't forthcoming, they can deny entry. Similarly, if they see that there has been a conviction, they can deny entry. So what people are wise to do is, one, to pursue this process and to have their record suspended, and then secondly, to have their arrest record destroyed. And even then, it's not a guarantee.
All right, and we've got about 30 seconds left then. So your final tips for anybody who is looking to get a pardon and subsequently scrub their record?
Well, they can do this without the help of a lawyer if they want to go online. There's some steps that have been set out by the Canadian government and just in terms of how to do this, and it should be a fairly efficient process. It remains to be seen. Again, this is all sort of coming into play today and going forward. So I believe that it should be something they can do themselves, and if in doubt, they can always contact a criminal lawyer.
Well, listen, we really appreciate your expertise. It's been helpful. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Criminal defense lawyer Robb Macdonald joining me today.